Are you good?
You're like somebody talk. Hey, so we're back. The early morning edition. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the whole deal. Shout out to my mom. I love you. Her birthday is next week.
Happy birthday.
So we're back. We're
Mama.
back. Dear mama. So we're back in full effect, everybody. I just want a housekeeping. Sorry for last week. Me and Brother Raph and Brother Vern, we were trying to make it happen, but last week was just one of those just tough weeks. So we apologize for the lack of a video. Just so you all know, I mean, it's
purposes.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that the game of the week was Raph and Marv, but again, sorry we couldn't feature them to talk about their matchup. We got Raph here; he can, shed a little light on that matchup. And we just want to get through everything, go through the weekend games, the games today, the actual fantasy games. Just give you a little taste of everything. We're going to freestyle it. It seems like freestyle it makes for a great video. So with that being said, we had got started on talking about some stuff off of the record button, but we just figured let's just jump right in. I'm just hopping right back in, so I missed some of it. So I'll let Raph and Vern sort of dive us into.
No, I was saying there was two areas of topics. We started talking about the DeAndre Swift roller coaster ride that is
Right.
on the squad, and the whole Taysom Hill thing. With the whole ESPN eligibility. I think that's an interesting. It's an interesting debate because I mean, in one instance, this game is all about finesse and anticipation and making the right moves at the right time, at the expense of not letting somebody else become the rich. And I think, in this past week, Jerm picked up Taysom Hill, and I ain't gonna lie, I was sitting there on Monday thinking early Wednesday morning, I was like, man, should I do it? But I was like, you know what, whatever. And you know what, it could have been me, and you saw how close my game could have went either way, and I certainly could have used them.
I'll talk about it on two different levels. One, as a league manager, it's like my job to make sure the league is regulated, make sure, I guess, like people are going to be ingenious or, use ingenuity or come up with different things to get ahead. And that's one area that I don't like to really legislate at all. But as a league manager, I wish that ESPN would have addressed that, because even if it's for 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, I mean, you had a situation where at the tight end position, I mean, you could really come off and get 25, 30 points if it goes a certain way. So in that way, I wish that ESPN would have regulated that a lot more. But I'm saying that as a LM. And also as an LM, I don't feel bad because there was nothing that I could do. Now, as a team owner, I mean, I give Jeremy all the props in the world. I mean, sometimes, like, the move is there to be made. It's within the bounds of what ESPN allows, and he jumped on it. So, I think as a team owner, like, he did his thing. He did what anybody, I think, with the opportunity and the recognition and sort of the study of it would do. So I don't knock Jeremy one bit. Like, do your thing. But I am glad overall that ESPN did something, because that's a situation that you can't have somebody eligible for a tight end spot that's going to come out. I mean, even your Kelce's of the world on a good day, 8, 9 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He ain't dropping 30 points a game.
Right, like just like to have that sort of floor as a quarterback, like, so it's like overkill. As a observer, it didn't matter because he was playing Vern anyway. So it's not like he was playing like you this week, where it's like, yeah, I need this advantage. So, it all worked out. But again, ESPN, they got to do a better job. Jeremy did his thing. I'm not mad at it one bit. And as an observer, it's like, oh, well, it's for not. So,
Yeah, so it all went into the big void. I mean, it didn't really affect any of, the playoff races or, anything like that. Like, he put all those 32 points against me. Like, big whoop. He would have won anyway. So, I mean, sometimes the right things happen for the wrong reasons. So it all worked out. I mean, I feel pretty strongly about the situation because I feel like this. There's a history with ESPN about how they treat players that are eligible in multiple positions. And I feel like that's something that you have to be very judicious who you give that to. I can particularly remember Cordell Stewart in years past. He was a pretty much like a switch guy. Like he was QB, running back, wide receiver. He's eligible for all those positions. You got players now. Joe Webb, he's eligible as the QB and wide receiver. You have Cordell
Hold up,
Patterson.
Vern, are the police coming to lock you up for bad team management or something? I hear the sirens in the background.
We can nominate that as another prop of the week. I'm going to fantasy jail, fellas. This is my last will and testament.
You got the hoodie on, like you about to start running,
Right. Hey. But even like with Cordell Patterson, right? You had Cordell Patterson. He had to start as running back, a couple weeks ago. And, to me, he's listed as a QB wide receiver, right? I'm sorry, not QB wide receiver, running back wide receiver. So to me, it's like it gets into an interesting thing. It's like, okay, well, he started at running back last week. So should we now take away wide receiver from Cordell Patterson? And I mean, I guess in some ways they kind of explained it like, well, hey, Drew Brees is going to be hurt, so it's likely he's going to be starting for the rest of the year. But it's like, okay, in that same situation, will we do the same thing to Cordell Patterson? We'll say, okay, well, David Montgomery is out, so he's no longer going to be a wide receiver this year. He's going to be just a running back. Same thing with Cordell Stewart back in the day. It's like, okay, can you take him out of those other positions? I mean, to me, this is kind of all a null and void point because he should have never been a tight end. That to me, that's where ESPN messed up. And in a way, it's kind of like a goofy mess up because he's obviously so much not a tight end that it's like, okay, well, yeah, put him back in QB. No big deal. But if they had him at running back in QB, or if they had him at wide receiver in QB, I think that there could be a big argument like, hey, this guy's been on this team for 3 years, and now all of a sudden you're just making him just a QB. I don't know if I would be okay with that. So to me, like I said, sometimes the right things happen for the wrong reasons. If he was put in as another one of those positions and not tight end, I think that there would have been a lot of flack coming back like, hey, no, I'm not cool with this. But because it's tight end, it's like, yeah, dude, like, no, you never was a tight end. You never lined up as a tight end.
But I think
you never caught a pass and stuff. Like, come on, dude. Like, nah.
Vern, I think to your point though, I think that's the issue though, right? I mean, I think if we're talking about a position that averages 9 points a game, 8 points a game, and you dropping a dude in there that can score 30, that's different than somebody who's like a wide receiver / quarterback. Because a wide receiver can go off, and a quarterback can have a bad day, right? And a wide receiver going off and a quarterback having a bad day, you're probably looking at about 20 points.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Raph, but I think in every situation, the quarterback has the highest floor
for sure
of any position.
No question.
And automatically, whether even running back, wide receiver, I mean, if you could say on a given week, like, I'm going to plug in a guy masquerading as a running back, but he's really the starting QB, that's a good, strong 20 points at least. And that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Except for QB. At QB, you're like, all right, I need these 25, 30 points.
Right.
But anywhere else, you like, I can get 20.
I'll take
Good.
it. Take it.
Yeah. But see, the problem with that is it becomes more of a fundamental issue about how soon does a person receive eligibility and how soon do you take it away? And that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, to me, the tight end part, it's like, ESPN, you just goofed because he's never played that position. But it's like, what if he did? What if he had been playing tight end? Then what? Then it's like, to me, it's like, I don't know, fellas. Like, you see a lot of strange things. I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention to this. But sometimes when you kind of adjust like when you adjust the settings to try to figure out which players you want to pick up, there's a guy named Allen Richardson who's ranked number 1 as a defensive tackle, but he's also listed as an RB. It's just a fluky thing, right? That you just see at ESPN, right? Now, for whatever reason, just say they actually allowing you to get those defensive points, and he's still eligible as a running back. And you slide him in. It's like technically, it's like, well, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it, right?
I
But
think
to me, that's the goofy part of ESPN. It's like, dude, this dude would never see the day of light of running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Like,
but the thing
come
is,
on,
Vern, like
he's a defensive tackle.
But it's like, okay, are you going to add this guy? It was probably like they brought him in on like a overload, max protects goal line, and they handed him the ball, he got a touchdown. Probably something like that. I don't know. But are you ever going to sit there and be like, I'm starting this guy? Like, or are the Ravens ever going to announce, like, all right, he's going to be on offense today? So, like with receivers, running backs that may on a trick play throw a ball or run a wildcat, I'm not mad at that. I'm also not mad at, say that Taysom Hill was an emergency QB, Drew Brees started the game, and for whatever reason, let's just say you started Taysom Hill for some reason, whatever, who knows, and he just happens to become a QB within a game. I'm not mad at that. But ESPN had advance notice in my mind, that Taysom Hill was starting the game at QB. They knew that on Friday. So in my mind, they need to make the modification. They had enough time. It's not like New Orleans said this on Sunday at 12:58. They said this with 2 full days for ESPN to make an adjustment. So I think we're all blaming ESPN, which is for whatever reason, which I think is the right way to go. I think, again, within the flow of being a team owner, it's like, nah, you do what you got to do to get them points. But, I just think ESPN could have done a better job with that one.
All right. So, any other breaking news? Any other hot topics that y'all want to?
Yeah, I gotta throw one at you, Raph, and you don't even know about this one because it happened in Germ's league. So, I got to start off the conversation by making a formal apology to Germ. Germ is the LM of his patent office league, and he works very hard in that league to keep it going. And so I got to give him props that way. And one of his tenets is like, look, guys, like just compete. However we do it, just compete. And then I'm bringing this up because this will apply to our league too. So last week, so basically I'm out of it in that league as well. And I was playing a dude that's on his way to the playoffs. And, as an LM, I got to, I'm not perfect. So I got to put out everything so you guys can understand and be like, all right, we get him or we don't get him or whatever. But again, I'm not perfect. So it got to the point where I thought the guy was going to beat me, basically, because he's going to the playoffs. My team basically is awful. And it got to like Monday night, and I'm winning. Like I was winning. So I picked up like the tight end for like the Rams, like the third string. I'm like, this guy ain't getting no points. And I put him in. And I still won the game. Now, and Jerm made a good point because we talked about it individually. Like he expressed, his thoughts on it. And, I basically apologized. I'm like, look, that ain't me. And I apologize to not so much the teams that had the playoff race sealed, but the teams in the hunt. Like, hey, my bad. It was actually Ricky. So I reached out to him and I apologized to him. Because at the heart of it, I'm looking at it like I was just frustrated. Like, damn, I wanted to get this loss. I mean, my lineup is my lineup, but it's like when it's close like that, it's like, come on, dude. Like, whatever. So in the moment,
so you wanted the L to improve your draft status?
Yes, and it's a topic that people may not want to cover or talk about. But again, as an LM, like I owe a better, I owe a standard, I owe a better, just sort of holding myself to that, if you will. And if I fall short, then I have to let the league know to maintain some level of credibility. So I guess the key was, and again, because I've said it over here, like, hey, whatever you do, put in a lineup that's competitive or at least passes muster. And this is a good conversation for you and for Vern. My general thought is, and again, this is why I was wrong, and I had to apologize to Jerm and Ricky, because the team was still making his way to the play or trying to get into the playoffs. And in that way, that was on me, and that was a foul. That was definitely a technical foul right there. If it's two teams that are not in the hunt, I don't know if we've ever shined a light on that, if they play each other.
And they both vying for the loss?
Yeah, I mean, so like what rules apply, what rules don't apply, I don't know. But like I said, I didn't want to have that conversation because I could see that becomes very relevant as we move forward. So I didn't want to have a conversation over here without saying, look, guys, your boy dropped the ball over there. So 1, apologies to Germ, 2, apologies to Ricky. And then 3, like, where do we go with that kind of conversation? I felt bad. Like, after me and Jeremy talked, I was like, damn, like, you know what? That ain't me. Like, but in the moment, I was like, oh, like, why am I not losing this game?
So you mean fantasy football's emotional? You wouldn't say.
Well, no, because you expect to lose. I'm like, look, the lineup, like, my team is a good team over there, but it's just Barkley got hurt. I have Jonathan Taylor. He hasn't blossomed. I don't know if he ever will, but definitely not this season. And then I have like Calvin Ridley. I have Lamar. So you know how that feels with the both of them. They've had their injuries, but in the moment, it's just like, man, like this team sucks.
My take on that though is like, listen, subconsciously, everybody wants that number 1 pick because that's value, right? And at the end of the day, it's about asset allocation, acquisition, and just putting your team in the best spot for the future if you know you can't do it today. Mm-hmm. With all that said, I think and this is where I think, like, I don't think you should. Maybe this is not me talking, 5-6 years ago. This is me talking today. Disclaimer. But like, I'm thinking, the worst team should get the worst pick, right? But the worst team shouldn't be the one who was able to finesse the loss that he should have won. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's that's how the universe ought to work. So when you got 2 teams, just put your best lineups in, and then I tell you what, if you're meant to take an L, listen, we all go into the weeks, but like, man, I'm projected to score 40 points more than the next guy, and I'll take an L, right? Like, you just never know how it breaks, but at least nobody ever will question your intent if you just put the lineup in there that you're supposed to put in there, and then let the best team win and the worst team lose, and then let it all shake out. Like that would be my,
Yeah. I mean, I've been heated about this, but I think, but only, and this is why Jeremy, I had to apologize to him because it's something that I would have said as well. Like, if you're playing a playoff team, you got to put your best foot forward. Outside of that, this is my take. Outside of that, whatever. So yeah, it's like on in that league, on that one, it was like, yeah, like I gotta own that, I gotta eat that. But I hear what you're saying, Raph. Putting a lineup, the philosophical question is, amongst teams that are out of it, does it all become moot? Does it matter?
No, because you know what? And to your point, if you would have went ahead and put in the lineup you're supposed to, and let's say you give that playoff team an L, that could affect seeding, that could affect matchup, like those domino effects for a seemingly irrelevant game still has consequences.
Well, I still won the game anyway. That's how pathetic.
That's the universe saying, Aaron, don't. What are you doing? But so we'll chalk that up to harmless error. But
again, another example of the right thing happening for the wrong reason. So it's like the good thing about the whole thing is like, yeah, from like the intent purposes, I think it was good for you to kind of apologize to Jerm and Ricky, like, hey, my bad, fellas, I really wasn't seeing this, the right way, or maybe not seeing the bigger picture.
In the moment.
But at the end of the day, it's like, you got the win, and that helped Ricky. So it's like, okay, no harm, no foul. I think it's more of a question of, if you are a losing team, what is considered as being competitive, right? So a person could take the stance of, well, dude, okay, if I'm playing these playoff teams, I'm gonna give them hell. I'm gonna try to spoil their chances at getting into the playoffs, and that's that. Like, hey, I'm gonna try to knock your head off. But if you're a losing team,
it's at the expense of your draft positioning, though, right? So
yeah, but I'm gonna get to that. Raph. But if I'm facing a losing team, then it's like, well, we're competing now for the best pick. So it's like, well, dude, I ain't gonna try to help you. I'm not gonna help you to the first pick. So it's just, to me, it becomes a thing. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I'm not giving you the answer. I'm saying that could be a person's take on it. They could be like, well, hey, it's two losing teams. It's not going to help anybody else as far as getting into the playoffs or not getting into the playoffs. So therefore, we're competing for something different. Somebody can make that take. Or you can take the overall take of what Raph kind of mentioned, which is like, hey, just put your best lineup out there, see where the chips fall. It is what it is. If you're not the worst team,
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle ground, Vern, because I agree with you, and that's kind of my philosophy. But then I also agree with Raph, because you start to say, well, where does this go? Because we're all smart guys here. Like, so what happens? Like, if you Raph's way is pretty much a set in stone way, sort of objective. What you're saying, Vern, is almost like, where does this go? Like, it starts off with like, all right, I got like $1
quarterback because there's a chance.
$2 for you, $2. It just, I'm with you. I'm with you, where I agree, but it just starts to become like, so does once that door is open, where?
You know what's funny?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though.
When AC, when you preach about just make a fair deal. I ain't gonna legislate how you make your deals. Just make a fair deal, right? Objectively make a fair deal. Along that same vein, it's like, listen, just put an objectively decent lineup based on what you got, based on what's available in the game.
But then are you just playing it out? Because objectively reasonable. See, this goes into a lot of different lanes, because objectively reasonable, like, what does that mean? Like, all right, so I know that this lineup ain't the best, but it's a lineup.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'll give you the best. Like, I mean, I look at your team, AC, just because I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put it up here. So let's say like,
really should put up my team. My team is the best example.
But your team got a lot of. I mean, okay. So let me.
And I'm going to support it. But go ahead and say your piece, and then I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah. So let me. All right. I'll put up yours, man. Let me. So check it. So right now you got like Kenyon Drake, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Thomas, Cooper Kupp, Hayden Hurst, Mostert in there if he comes back off of IR. So to me, that's an objectively, like, based on the team, based on your roster construction, that's probably who you should be starting. I'm not you shouldn't be putting in Nelson Aguilar or Naheem Hines over anybody else in that starting lineup.
Maybe not. But maybe not. But I'll tell you this. Here's the thing, right? Because look, if your team is really, really bad, right? It's like, dude, if you like at the bottom three, chances are it's not because of just injuries. It's not because of your team just sucks. Most times it's because of injuries, right? A lot of times it's because you got a lot of dudes that's hurt. They in and out your lineup, whatever. So it's like you're kind of constricted to basically filling in a competitive lineup based on what's available on the waivers, right? So I can tell you, you can look on my roster, right? And I think 1 week I didn't have any running backs other than Jonathan Taylor. I think Drake was hurt. Mostert was hurt. We all know what's going on with Barkley. So I didn't have anybody, right? So I had to pick up Willie Gallman. And it's like, well, that's what that was the best of offer. That's it just happened. Sweet. Sometimes the right things happen for the wrong reason. That dude was actually viable. Like, dude was putting up like double-digit points ever since I picked him up. But to me, it's like you can't
put in Wayne Gallman over Jonathan Taylor. That's objectively, I'm like, okay, it may not be the move I would make, but I'm not gonna look at that and be like, what's really going on there? Like that's an okay move that I could see somebody making in the interest of the matchup or whatever. What I'm talking about is like, you taking out Michael Thomas and putting in Nelson Aguilar and then putting in Naheem Hines over Mostert because, Noah Mostert's going to come back and get, 20 touches a game.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. I'm saying for that particular week, I had no one else to put in at an RB2 spot. Willie Gallman was literally the best I could do. I remember.
You had like 6 people injured at 1 week. And I mean, the universe
right. On my team was hurt. So it's like, hey, come on, Willie, like let's see what we can throw up. Like it's not the best, but that dude put up double digits. So my thing is like this. I think the end of the point is really this. If you're a bad team, right, chances are it's because things happen to you. We see this with AC team, right? He talked about his basically AC's team and PTO is the same team I got in New Era, right? So it's like do the best you can do off of waivers. Like fill in your roster the best you can off of waivers, reasonably. You know what I'm saying? Don't get like the QB that is going to be like, yo, this dude is only going to put up like 14 points. Get the dude that's like, okay, he's a solid dude. Like, just do that. Like, put in a running back. Like, okay, if this league is running back hungry, like, put in the dude that has the best opportunity to get some points. If that just so happened to be Willie Gallman or Frank Gore, then so be it. It's like, well, that's what y'all left me on waivers, so I'm going to do the best I can. I don't have any guys to play on my roster, so it is what it is. But just do your best. Like, that's it. So,
which is an objective standard, right? I mean, objectively, you look at it and be like, hey, listen, he tried. Like, he put in who he had based on.
Right. It's like, yo, I can't wave the magic wand, and now all of a sudden I can get, somebody off your team. Like, I can't do that. I have to pick what's actually on the waivers. Like, so it's like, well, hey, fellas, did you leave any meat on the bone? If y'all didn't, then I'm going to get the gristle. Like, I'm going to rock with the gristle. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you want me to do? So, Willie Gallman it is until the dudes get healthy. So, to me, the funny thing is that when AC was saying I'm on your side, it's like I don't really have a position on this. I just kind of throw it out there because to me, I feel like a team can have different ways of saying what is competitive when you're losing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I have a particular way I'm approaching it, but I'm just saying teams have different ways of approaching how they face losing teams if they're being competitive.
It's a battle. It's a battle of interest, right? You're weighing the interest against doing what's best for the future of your team, which is getting the best draft pick you can, versus the interest you have in being a spoiler in the current season.
Well, see, who are you spoiling? And when you're playing another losing team, right? Who are you spoiling? And that's to me, it's like for the owner, it's like that's the question that they would ask the LM. It's like, well, who am I spoiling here? It's like if I'm playing like, all right, so in the PTO, me and Aaron, we play this week, right? It's like if he wins or I wins, who am I spoiling? There's no one to be spoiled here. We're both spoiled milk, well, so it don't matter.
It's to Raph's point when he talks about draft position. I think it may not be the playoff teams, but it's the other people in the lottery. So.
And here's the thing, and in your case, so here's my thing, right? So you can, and I'll compare, like, for example, actually I'll compare y'all guys' team. So let's say it comes on to the last game of the season. You guys are on the schedule, and you're vying for that top pick, and it's you versus AC. I'm going to look at that, and knowing what you can roll up, what you can reload with, just in terms of your keepers next year, I would think it's fundamentally unfair, I think, for you to try to tank that game so you can get the number one pick when, like, objectively looking at both of the rosters, AC needs a keeper. AC, he's not rolling into next season with, like, a Saquon Barkley coming off of IR. He's not rolling with a Michael Thomas who's going to stop punching his teammates in the face. Like, so to me, there's a difference there, even between two losing
teams
in the season.
I actually agree with you,
Raph, have you been reading the Bible or something lately?
Right. Raph is thoroughly reformed.
Where's that thing with Ricky with the baby?
Great.
Well, yeah, I think I'm not going to downplay, and again, this is why I wanted to bring it up. Given my sort of sinning last week, not sort of, my sins last week, but I think that it's a good topic point. I mean, I think that everything matters, and again, I'm sort of in the middle ground with this one. I mean, because I agree with the fundamental, not so much Raph, you giving the argument, but the fundamentals of your viewpoint. I agree with, and then I also agree with the fundamentals of Vern's viewpoint. There's no real right answer. It's just, what do you do? Because like you said, I mean, if we, and it really, we start crossing over into a lot of subjectivity. I mean, to say like, all right, well, this team was worse than that team, was worse than that team. I mean, I don't know. It just, at the end of the day, it's just putting guys in the lineup and seeing what they do. But when it comes to certain strategies. I mean, there are ways that if people wanted to, you could finesse trying to get a certain position in the draft. And, you know, as a team owner, I can't say that that's out of bounds. I mean, if you're in a pool of people that don't know how to swim, you know what I mean? Like, I can't say it's out of bounds, like push somebody out of the way as you make your way to the end. But then I can't say that, you know, it's not out of bounds. I just think philosophically it's one of those, like, I think we just all come to a draw.
I agree. I think it becomes a draw. I think we could all have our perspectives on it, but I don't think that there's an ultimate answer. So I think a person just has to do what they feel like is like cut between the middle. That's what I would say. It's like, you know, take a look in the mirror and feel what's right for you, and just try to be competent about it. Like, whatever you're going to do, just be competent.
But I do think, to that point, there's also another reason why I brought this up.
I love him.
We were talking both about his league and our league. And what I'm probably going to do in the off season is reach out to everybody and think of a mechanism to sort of I don't want to say prevent anything, but a scenario where if you get like no, just hypothetical right now, but no top 3 picks in back-to-back years, like stuff like that. It's something that we're gonna digest in the off season. I don't know if that will become a reality, but it'll be something that we'll look at.
I would say I'm gonna say a hard no to that, just off the face of it, because sometimes, I mean, like, you really do. Like, my team, I think we all agree, like, my team came into the season as one of the best teams that you could probably assemble to make a run. And it just completely fell apart. And I don't think, to me, it would be unfair to that team to say, well, hey, you're going to have to suffer through this awful season with all these dudes hurt. You can't put any of these dudes in the lineup. There's nothing on waivers. And now it's like, well, because you had this pick from last year, like, nah, G, like, you got to get to the back of the line. Like, to me, I would.
It wouldn't be a back of the line, but I think that
or to have a true lottery system, maybe for the top 3 picks.
I mean, like, you can't, in my mind, you know, as we really look at it, in a way, and again, this is all just brushing the surface, but yeah, if you have the number 1 pick in 2019, then you had a number 1 pick or a top 2 pick in 2020, and at some point it's like, well, what's going on here? Like what? And I'm just saying, in back-to-back years, that would only be my focus. Just because. Go ahead, Ryan.
So, and it was just, I mean, listen, and here's what a suggestion. I don't know if it's something I would do or not, but, like, you know, you could kind of treat it like the NBA, right? Where you can have all your lottery teams go into, like, literally a lottery, and the team with the worst record has the best odds of getting the pick, but not necessarily so.
How will we even?
I'm saying so. For example, like, you get like a bingo ball. Just hear me out. Listen, you get like a bingo ball or whatever, and it's like, all right, the worst 3 teams get like 3 balls, and everybody else gets 1. Right? So then there's no incentive to really other than getting 2 more balls in the thing. Like, it doesn't guarantee you anything. So, you know, and my thing is, you know, however they fall. And, you know, sometimes the team with the best odds will get the best pick, and maybe one year they won't.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, again, this is all stuff that honestly.
We can host a draft. We can host a legitimate lottery.
I think we've lost Vern. But this is all stuff that I would definitely want to run past the league. I would want everybody to have a say on this. I don't want it to be just you know, as I come through with new LM stuff, I would want that conversation to be had league-wide.
Yeah.
I'm
saying we can host a lottery.
Right. But I just think, and I get Vern's point. I mean, if you're a bad team, then, you know, it could take you a while to get out. And all I'm saying, under what I'm throwing out there, and just I want to emphasize, just throwing out there for discussion is say, so, you had the number 2 pick in 2020. Then in my mind, in 2021, you can't come back with a top 1, 2, or 3 pick. Now, maybe the guy who finished, like if you finished in the top 3 the year before, maybe now you get put to pick 4. Something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's like, to keep having top picks like year after year after year after year after year, it's almost like, well, what's going on here at least?
Yeah.
So I think it's a topic for discussion.
Yeah, AC, just a housekeeping matter. My computer isn't charging. I'm at 37%. My computer charger for whatever reason is not charging, so I'm just gonna keep you updated on my power status.
There are these things called like cords that you plug into the wall into the computer.
No, I am, but it's not. It's literally not charging. So that's why I'm trying to.
Oh, Cyber Monday, man. Like you may want to.
Yeah, Cyber Monday ain't helping with newsletter on 11/26.
Right. Well, first we lost Vern. So where is he? Can we get him back?
I don't know. He's gone but never forgotten though. That's for sure.
All right. Well, let's just see if he pops back in, can he use the link and get back in?
Yeah. He can just he'll just jump in.
All right. So let's keep rolling.
You want to jump into power rankings real quick, or?
Yeah. Let me pull up my Let's see.
I mean, if you want, we could just do like the top. I think the last time we did this, we just did like the top half, just because.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second.
What do the people?
All right, so we can do power rankings, but let's cover the games last week real quick, if because I really wanted to give you and Marv more airtime than y'all actually got. I think it deserved that. I think Marvin isn't here, but I do think that game should be talked about. It was a great game. So let's just run through the others like one sentence. Jeremy crushed Vern. That was not a shocker. It wasn't even that Taysom Hill thing. Like Jerm just had a complete lineup. Yeah. Keenan Allen is paying dividends. And Jerm did Jerm. So good job, Jerm.
You got that hill push.
Yeah. Let's see. Mel played Gene. Now, for a minute, I thought that Mel was going to pull this out.
I did too, actually.
So, I don't know. Maybe Russell. But you know what? I don't know. Melvin Gordon? Was it him? I mean, I don't know what turned the tide.
Yeah, it was Melvin Gordon. He dropped 23, and then Tyler Lockett came through. But really, it was Melvin Gordon.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like I said, it was like Mel was looking.
That was for Gene. Melvin came through for Gene.
Right. So
and Julio pooped the bed.
That's right. He had the hamstring.
And then New England didn't help him out at all.
I don't know why that. I mean, I had them in the other league. Like, you gotta let go of them and find somebody else.
Yeah.
All right, Brett upset Plunk,
which I thought was surprising. Actually, that was a surprising game. I thought. I mean, really, Derrick Henry came through. He's had a couple kind of quiet weeks. But he came through with a $133 and a TD.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, man, like I don't. See, this is why you don't trade. That's why you don't trade Patrick Mahomes, because while he took the win, it's like this is a prime example of like why having an elite quarterback just makes your life so much easier. Because you look at Carson Wentz, and it's like he's out there for picks.
We got brother Vern back. Vern, we just running through the games last week. I don't know if you want to return to the early discussion. We just said let's move on.
Nah, we good.
Okay. So
you're talking about Plunk and Brett's game, and I was just saying this is a game where Brett took the win, but this is a game where this is again why you don't trade Patrick Mahomes, because when you're rolling Carson Wentz out there, like you can't feel good about that right now. Like he's just bad. He's just playing bad football. Like he's starting.
During the Sunday, I was like, Brett, I reached out to him. I'm like, dog, like the name of your team is Baskin Dobbins. You drafted Baskin Dobbins. You drafted J.K. Dobbins. Why at this point? What do you have to lose? Why are you not playing this guy just to even if you're trying to decide if you're going to keep him, that's not going to matter if he's on his bench or not. I get it, but you drafted the guy with your pick just for the mental of it. Play him. Like
he's doing a Lions right now. He's like, I got this guy. I'm just not gonna play him.
I mean, at some point, and that there's no mandate. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But I would just think, like, at some point, at least in one game before the end of the year, the guy you put your 4th round pick in, play him. Just play him. I mean, if the Ravens are saying he's going to get love of some sort in a game, just throw him out there. Just he may get rewarded.
And my thing is, you can't, like, and here's the thing, you got to know what Detroit's doing. Like, AP, like, why is AP, like, AP's just not startable. Like, to me, he's just not startable. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
That's like, what do you do? Like, if you're going to go with AP, you might as well throw Dobbins in there for face value, you know, but.
That was my point to him. And again, this was while the games were being played, so it was of no roster, like, lineup relevance. But I'm like, dude, like, you got AP out there. Like, what do you think he's going to do today? Do you think he's going to get 30 carries? I mean, what? I don't know. So that was that game.
Then you got Ricky's game. Ricky in your game was a.
Yeah, Ricky mashed me out real good. Joe Burrow. I mean, there's no real sort of recitation of what went wrong. Like the team. You know, I knew
what went wrong with Ricky versus AC.
Yeah, I mean, I knew. And listen, man, if there was a way, I saw a slither of hope that maybe if some teams lost at least one game, I may have a chance at 7-6.
Yeah.
And it's like, but by and large, like what needed to happen happened because Punk lost. I was like, great, but it just when Swift was like out with the concussion, I was like, well, that's it. And then Burrow went down. I was like, that's double it. Then I had like 4 people going on Monday night that really just.
You know, and the crazy part about Ricky's day was like he put up $137 with no running backs. I mean, just like if you just look at that aspect of it, like that's a good day. I mean, when you can't say, you know, if you went into like a 12 o'clock game and your running backs put up 4 points and 4 points, you're not looking so good for the rest of the day. But he came through.
Yeah, man, I had some high hopes, man, and not like a blowout, but I just had high hopes that I could be competitive in that game. But again, when they said Swift is out, and then throughout the course, Burrow went down, it's like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess the last game, the game that I really wanted to talk about that deserves the attention is your game with Marv. So just give us some insight, Raph, on how you felt, you know, how the game played out, everything. I mean, where you feel going forward, because now we're talking about potential playoff matchups.
Don't mess with the chef.
Cooked up something marvelous, huh?
Listen, it ain't a Fresh Prince, but you know we cooking. It's Thanksgiving, bro. We cooking. But no, man. You know, I think like I said, I think I might throw it out in the chat. You know, my fortunes or my misfortunes, quite frankly, have been masked by 2 different things. One is schedule. You know, I played the right teams the right weeks. And really, you know, McCaffrey going down and Cook coming back, to me, I think Cook has been the MVP of my team, you know, hands down. Like he's held my team down, you know, single-handedly, you know, basically. You know, and you know, Mark Andrews has been hit or miss this season. You know, he's had some duds, he's had some good weeks. So it's just about, you know, the stars lining up. I felt good about Pittsburgh defense going into the draft. That's why I drafted them. You know, I thought that front was going to do work, and they've been the best defense I think in the league all year. And you know, like I think, you know, with DK, Ridley's back, DK, like I really wish I had McCaffrey in my lineup because I just want to see what my team can do when they're at full arsenal. And hopefully I have him back for the playoffs.
What's his status?
He should be back next week. Is what I'm reading. But at this point, it's like, man, if you need to hold them out for a week, do what you got to do.
Well, see, this is why, you know, the art of a deal. Like, what did you give up to get Davis?
I had to go back. I don't remember.
See, if I was Ricky though, like because I know how valuable he is, I would have, within the bounds of making a fair deal, I would have held you to task with that because anytime like a central piece like a Madison or a Davis, these guys are very important, especially to the fabric of your team.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he got, but I hope he got something premium, at least within the framework of that trade.
Yeah.
I thought he got like an 8th.
Might have been an 8th.
Yeah, I think it was an 8th.
I
I think what's interesting.
I'll say this though. It was, and honestly, truthfully, this was my conversation with Ricky. I was like, this is a spectrum. On the high end, he's worth like a 5th or a 6th if McCaffrey's out for the year, right? And I was like, if McCaffrey is back and he's just back to getting 5-6 touches a game, he's probably somewhere up in that 9-10 area. And I was like, because McCaffrey was just coming back, this is before he got re-injured with the shoulder. I was like, his value is probably somewhere in that middle range, quite frankly. Right. So that's kind of how we came to that. Right. I thought it was fair. So.
Yeah, you got him at the right time. So, yeah, I can't be mad at the deal. I think, what becomes interesting with Ricky's team is the what if. And we're probably going to get into that when we talk about Marvin's team and kind of how did he kind of fall just short. But a lot of it kind of surrounds these trades that Ricky made. So continue on. Let's kind of analyze what happened with Marvin's team, why he fell a couple points short.
Okay. Kareem Hunt, if I could just say so myself, I thought that at the draft we were all like, but then when the season played out, it was like, man, like great, solid pick. But I think this is what happens, every now and then with a guy like that. Like, and you never know which games are going to be critical. But it's like with him and Chubb splitting carries, it's like you never know who's going to be getting the love that day, or at least the fantasy relevant love. And so that 11 points didn't help him. TJ Hawkinson, I mean, look, it's a tough year for tight ends all the way around. Buccaneers defense, I think that, defenses are really becoming sort of streamable. I mean, you got Pittsburgh. That was a great move. I thought Vern made a great move with Baltimore. I made the San Fran move, but it didn't work out. And then you get some defenses that rise up every year, but for the most part, it's hard to land on a good defense. I will say that I think the Buccaneers are slowly starting to unravel. That being said, 4 points from your defense. I mean, in a game this high stakes, you need more. But in a regular sort of like, can I fault him for playing them? No. But in a matchup like this, that 4 points just ain't cutting the mustard. Outside of that, I can't. I mean, A.J. Brown has been his dog the whole year. Go ahead, Vern.
I would like to bring up a name.
Yeah.
Last name Gibson. Oh, yeah. You'll find him on his bench.
So yeah, Vern. But I can't knock that move because in a regular sort of average everyday situation. I mean, Kareem Hunt has been holding it down, and then Jones, and then Hilaire Edwards. Like that, that's not like the worst. I mean, granted, they are playing Cincinnati.
They're playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's the Redskins too. You can't they ain't some like juggernaut all of a sudden.
To me, the way I see it is like this. If you're going to make a trade for a guy, right? You're saying that you have a need. Right? That's why you make a trade. Hey, I have a need here. I need to strengthen this position. I need to do this because something is going on with my team to where I really need to push forward, right? So it's like, to me, if you're going to get Gibson, you got to play him. And to me, I imagine for Marvin, maybe it was Hilaire, in the whole debacle that was going on with Kansas City. Maybe it wasn't. But to me, it's like, dude, I mean, if you really pay attention to Gibson, like, look at his points. This dude is balling. Like, he's been balling. He's been consistent the whole way through. So, to me, I don't know if Marvin would have ended up making the right choice. Maybe he ends up pulling Gibson maybe he puts in Gibson for Hilaire, and that ends up being the wrong choice. Or maybe he gets it right, and he puts in Gibson for Hunt. But to me, it's just like, to me, it's like fundamentally, it's like you went out of your way to make this trade. You got to get Gibson in that lineup just based off of his performance. Based off of his performance alone, this dude is putting up double digits every single week. Like, it doesn't even matter. So it's just one of those things,
I can't
just one
knock
of
him
those
though. Like,
Yeah, I'm
see,
not
here's the
knocking
thing.
him. I'm just
You
saying.
make a trade. I hear you. Like, you make a trade for, like you said, like, all right, I have a need, but you can also make trades for depth, and you can make trades for the future. He could keep Gibson, Edwards, and Jones. I mean, now it's like, I don't know if you're really looking to keep guys who split in carries. I mean, that's what Hunt is really doing. I think Hunt is a great piece to add. I don't think he's a piece that you say necessarily that, all right, these are the top 30 guys in the league and the top, 3 guys on my team. So there could be a litany of reasons. And here's the thing, man. Raph put up a $162, Mark put up a $160. I can't. I gotta stand down in that case because, like, well, they had to be basically perfect, and it's hard to put together a perfect lineup every week. Now we just gotta say where did he fall short. I think in playing Monday morning quarterback, yeah, you put Gibson in for Kareem Hunt, and you got the win in the bag. But just overall, I can't fault the brother. Like a $160. I mean, I think Raph still stays at number one because he didn't, But I mean, but I can't fault Marvin for this lineup. He just fell short 2 points and he put up a $160. Like, he can't hold his head about that. Like that.
Listen, I stand by it. I think thus far this was game of the year because I don't think I've been tuned into just kind of what both of our teams were doing, just because it was that razor thin. And on the one hand, it's like, listen, DK catches that touchdown and they don't call that 40-yard penalty, then the points change. If he puts in Gibson, the points change. So I mean, I think in hindsight, I think he made what he thought was the best lineup decision. I hear you though about Antonio Gibson, Vern. But at the same time, my issue with Hunt is he's a different player, and maybe it's just a matter of like schemes, right? When Chubb was in there, they knew Chubb was the starter. Chubb was getting basically 51% plus of the carries, so they're game scripting against Chubb not going off, which then lets Hunt run wild, and he breaks off every game. He was breaking off like a 50-yard run somewhere or whatever. But like when you give Hunt, the start with the carries, maybe there's some tape on him where they can scheme him out, but I don't think I think he's defendable when it's just him in the backfield. It's much harder to do. I think the first 4 games of the season showed that.
Yeah. So I mean,
just to make this clear, like, I'm not knocking Marv. I'm not knocking it. I mean, dude, you put up a $160 points. I would love to put up a $160 points. So it's not a knock. Like, you played your hand, and you're not going to make every perfect call. We all know that. I'm just saying, like, going forward, I'm just saying, hey, find a way to get Gibson in your lineup. That's all I'm saying. It's not to say like, oh, okay, for this game, this is where you messed up. I'm not saying you messed up. I'm just saying, come forward, find a way to get this dude into your lineup. Like, you made the trade for him. You got to be able to use it.
Right.
So philosophically speaking here, all right, so Dallas today, I mean, hey, Marv, do what you do. If he's going to do it, I mean, who knows? But do you play him? Do you play him versus Pittsburgh? Do you play him versus San Fran? I mean, Marv is a matchup guy. Like,
yeah,
I can't,
Yeah, again, and I only reference Gibson because he was playing Cincinnati, and because I mean, this was something that we talked about as the game was playing out. I didn't come back after Gibson finished scoring his points. He's playing Cincinnati. It's like, that's a really good matchup. Like, man, I mean, and just looking at what he's done over the course of the last 5-6 weeks, it's like, yeah, Cincinnati, this is gonna be a cupcake. Like, he's going to go off. So, to me, I think when you combine that with what Raph is saying, like with the split and touches, and now Chubb being back, it's like, it's just one of those things where I think going forward, you kind of have to keep an eye on what Hunt is doing and looking at what Gibson's doing, and then based off of the matchup, kind of make a decision based off of that. So it's not like it's a bad call. It's just saying, hey, if it was me, if I was Marvin, I would keep an eye on those two and then adjust accordingly. That's it.
If it's a tie, you never bet that Cleveland's going to take you over the hump. A Cleveland football team is going to get you that dub.
I mean, Raph, you know that's falling by the wayside, man. There's guys on these teams now. Even for me, I got to revise that because there's guys on these teams that can get you some points. I remember Chubb. Remember when Gene picked him up? I mean, Chubb was sitting on that waivers, and then he kind of got the hotcakes, and Gene made the move to pick him up. And Chubb ain't looked back ever since. And it's Cleveland, and that's why he was on waivers. We was all like, Cleveland rookie, yeah. But
so here's a question: you think OBJ plays another snap for the Browns?
Raph, man, we on the wrong show, brother. NFL Live, like free agent.
I'm only bringing it up because we were all there for that infamous catch. So I'm just, I was kind of reminiscing.
I think we were also there to see Dez catch that touchdown to win the game. I think that what's his contract situation? Can they cut him? Like cut him and make a clean break, or dead money, or what's the deal?
I mean, you can always cut people in football. At least it looks like it. But
I think Odell. I don't think so. I think they take one more crack at it. I think that me and Vern talked about this. I believe like their problem is they treat Odell like a one-trick pony instead of just having him weave within and integrate himself into the flow of an offense, their offense, and what a number one wide receiver can do. He can do it all. So stop asking him to like run these deep routes all the time. Like if that's the play that comes up and that's the route that he's running, cool. But the dude can run the slants, the ins, the outs, the digs, the curl. He can do all of that. So just let him, you can't be prime time for 65 plays a game. Like you gotta scale it back, man. Like just have him work within the flow of the offense. And I think if they do that, because the thing is, he can catch a curl route and take it to the house and make a move. Like he can, once you just get the ball into his hands. Stop asking him to make the catch every time,
Right.
So I think they take another crack at it. I don't know if they'll have that understanding of it, but I think that they'll take another crack at it. Why not? He puts people in the seats.
Word to that.
Virtually.
I don't know, man. These vaccines are coming, man. I don't know what it means to the bigger picture. I don't know what it means to, the future. But I could see next season, 2021, people going to be back in the stadiums.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I think, people are hopeful, and sometimes, that optimism, that false sense of security can lead to some bad decisions or to mismanaged expectations. But, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
All right, so let's jump into these power rankings real quick before my computer dies.
Oh, yeah. What percentage are you at? Sorry.
16.
16? All right. Let's speed this up then. Raph's computer is going to die soon, Vern, so we got to get through this.
And it's not because I don't have a charger. It's physically not charging. So it's like.
All right. So check this out. Anybody new on the Gone Fishing boat? Last week it was Brett. Mm-hmm. It was Romel. It was me. And it was Vern. You got Plunkert at 5 and 6. Ricky at 6 and 5. Ricky, by definition, is not on the boat. Nope. He is still alive and kicking. So Ricky, you don't need to be back by the docking time. What about Plunkert? If we could say a word on him.
No, I think Plunkert is going to fight it out. It's unfortunate that he's a loss because I really feel like Plunkert's team is a playoff team, and I feel like in the reverse, I feel like Ricky, with all these trades that he's made, has made his team not a playoff team. So he should be on the boat, but he just refuses to get on. So hey, look, we back out fishing. Ricky's not going to be able to join us, but I think Plunkett is going to give him a hard way to go.
I got them neck and neck.
Well, Gene's not out of the woods yet either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got them both in like that 4 or 5 spot. Both of them.
All right. So let's do this then. In the interest of time, Raph, Germ, and Marv are definitely like no need to talk about y'all in the Going Fishing boat. You all have locked in. So really, Gene, Ricky, excuse me, and Plunk. I think Gene has the keys to the driver, man, to the car. I think that he just has to play his games, put his lineups in, and I think that he makes the playoffs at this point. He did what he was
He
supposed to do.
controls his own destiny.
Now, if Brett pulls an upset, now we back at even where, we'll see what Ricky does this week.
Absolutely.
I don't want to give Plunker too much love in this sense. He's 5-6. So you have Ricky and you have Gene. So for this week only, I'm looking at how they do in their individual matchups.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's just say a word on the top 3 guys and then move on to the matchup.
I say you called it out right. I think I would put Riddler first, Pillaging second, and I put Marv third.
I think that I agree with that. I think if Germ is able to beat you, I don't know if he beats you out of number 1 spot, but I think that it's a 1 and 1A situation. Germ has remade that team into a juggernaut, and I think that in essence, Raph, you're going to need McCaffrey. Like,
Who you telling? Don't mess with the chef. I need my cooks. I need my cooks in the kitchen. So
Raph, you might be the chef right now, but it's looking like Germ owns the restaurant.
That's all right. Listen, man. I call the health inspector, shut it down.
Yeah. The thing about Marvin is sort of what I said last week. I think he put up a valiant effort, but the question is going to be, does he have enough horses? I mean, between you and Germ, I mean, y'all coming with a lot of artillery. So I think if Marvin can definitely out-scheme the both of you, and that's no knock on you guys. It's just he can out-scheme you. It's just, will it be enough? On pure talent, though, I think it's definitely you and Germ at this point.
I think this playoff season is going to be like legit.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So, all right, let's come on over to this week's matchups. Me and Vern played. There's nothing to be said about that.
Loser Palooza. Don't we play in both PTO and this league?
Yeah.
So we got the double feature that nobody wants to see.
That's weird how that happens, but
I mean, we're gonna call this a public access radio show. This is that channel.
Like NPR.
Right. This is that, public access show, like, no budget, no production, no viewership, but you're on TV, but you ain't tuning in.
Man, we damn near C-SPAN. They taking votes, right. Nobody cares, like whatever, All right, let's jump down to the bottom. So Plunkett versus Romel. Now, the sort of we can do them both. Plunkett versus Romel, Gene versus Brett. Both of those games seem to be rated as being tighter games than one would expect. I would say that both of these games could go either way. I'll open it up to you guys.
This is only interesting to me if Plunkett wins and Gene loses. But so you kind of have to have the combination of both in order for it to get interesting. Because like you said, Gene's in the driver's seat. So I guess, to me, it's like, all right, Plunkett versus Romel. I feel like they're going to both be competitive games. I think Romel is not going to give Plunkett an inch. But I think Plunkett probably wins this week.
So
just off talent.
What'll make this interesting really is, like you said, if Plunkett wins and Gene loses, I think that Plunkett at this point has more pressure, obviously, because he needs to win. We'll see how it unfolds. What do you think, Raph, about both matchups?
I think I'm with Vern. I'm only interested depending on how it plays out. I think a lot, we kind of say this every week, like these games have consequences. So, I think Gene, to his point, is like he should be playing the odds, right? If he's in Vegas, you taking them high percentage shots, you're gonna put your best foot forward because you control your own destiny. You make it a lot harder on yourself if you take that L. So
the thing is, Brett is favored. That's and again, these ESPN projections, whatever. But I think there is some truth to them. Like, if we look back in the history of ESPN projections, like they're not that far off. They've been wrong, but they're not that far off.
I mean, I'll tell you, I think Miami at New Jersey, that defense, I think Miami's defense is going to come through against that Jersey against the Jets. So I'm expecting some points on the board from his defense. At least you're comparing defenses now that you can do that. Terry McLaurin's been balling out, and he's playing Dallas. I mean, granted, it's at Dallas, but like I think he's gonna ball out. D-Hop versus New England, like Arizona's weird, man. I think they asking your boy Murray to do a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you got somebody like Hopkins, you don't gotta he doesn't have to go through all the craziness he be going through. He's like Russell Wilson on steroids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you got Hopkins. Basically, he won you a Hail Mary catch. Like, take that momentum and draw some plays. Like give the dude the rock, let him do what he does, and then see those plays for like when you need them. Not just like on a second and short. Let me just Kyler Murray run out the pocket and run for 20. I'm like, that's not something you run at that point. But
But what's your call so we can move on?
No, I think G's gonna win. And I think I'm gonna give Plunt the dub. But again, that's a close one, man.
These games are going to be interesting nevertheless, I think, because both losing teams, which as a team owner, I'm hoping they do, both losing teams could win.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, I'm not mad if Gene wins, though. But if both Romel and Brett win, rewind this tape to the beginning of the conversation. If they both win. All right. And also highlight my view. I'm in the middle. Anyway. Okay, so let's briefly talk about Raph. What percentage are you at? All right, we good. Listen, man. We good. We're good. We're it's like we're like Indiana Jones, and like the temple is closing. Like we're running, man. We're running to that door. All right,
literally running out the castle.
Look, so Ricky and Marv. I'll just say my quick piece. With Marvin is not a dude to succumb to like psychological stuff, right? If I were Marvin, though, like my thought process would be like, man, I gotta get this win because I don't want to lose 3 straight. Like he was pretty strong in that number 1 seeding spot, and 2 short weeks later, he could be looking at he needs to get some dubs back on the board because he doesn't want to fall into the 4 spot. I mean, he's in the playoffs. But seeding does matter. It's like, do you want to play Raph or do you want to play Germ? Does it make a difference? Matchups. So here's the thing. Ricky, 6-5. Is he trying to win? Is he not? It looks like he has a really good lineup in this week based on projections. So I think with Marvin, again, he doesn't get psyched out or anything like that, but I think that there is some level of like, like, where is this going? Like, team, I need y'all to do y'all thing this week. I think Marv gets the dub, but I don't think that this is going to be one of those, like, quick layups. So,
I think Ricky has to be, and this is just me, I think Ricky has to be thinking, if I can win and and Gene loses, then it's like, listen, I can sneak in through the window.
So Ricky has incentive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is what it is, man. It's
Well, how do you feel, Vern? I mean, Raph got probably down to 6% now. Like, how do you feel?
I mean, I would be unnerved if Ricky went in because he's undid his team to where he hasn't given his team a fair shot. Just think about all the trades. Like, if he had Mike Davis, if he had Gibson, if he had Keenan Allen, like what this team could do as a 4 seed, that could be a problem. That could potentially have upset it, either Raph or Jeremy. But it's like, as it is, it's like, dude, like this team, it don't have enough to, I think, really make a scare in the playoffs because of his trades. And it is what it is. I don't want to keep harping on the same thing every single week, but it's just the reality is, it's like, dude, you really don't want to be in these playoffs. Like, don't do it. Like, because you don't have what you need in order to really make a run at it. So
that's why they play the game, brother. That's why they play the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? What if you draw me and then McCaffrey and Cook go down? Well, now listen, you can You could walk right into that final. I mean, you just never know, bro.
Right. For every story like that, I give you that year with Brett when he won. Like his whole lineup went down, and we all were like, "How in the world are you gonna pull this off?" And he won. He won. You never know.
You never know.
We literally all said, like, Brett, how are you going to pull this off? He had nobody. So, you know,
You
keep
never
dreaming.
know.
Keep dreaming. All right, let's get some real love to Raph and Germ. The battle for supremacy. Shownuff versus Leroy.
I'm tired of being the game of the week, bro. Just saying. But
That's what happens, man. We have Vern to thank for that schedule because honestly, this is how it should look. Like coming down the stretch run, you get treated to games like this.
And I'm
Can you say that again, AC? We have who to thank for this schedule?
Vern.
Thank you.
Yeah, because this is a treat, man. Like this is a real treat. Like to see these two guys playing at this point. I'm just gonna speak briefly because Raph is probably down to 3% now. 4%. I think that this is I can't even call this game down to like the projections 153 to 151. I mean, I think that Germ has some firepower. I think Raph up top you have the power, but I think the bottom half of your roster is you're gonna have to come with that perfect game this week. I think I would actually give an edge to Germ just because of the firepower he has. You can't roll in there with no McKissick this week, man. You gotta come with some people.
I mean, listen, Justin Jefferson, man, he's riding in my flex this week, man, and I'm gonna just hope he just does what he does, and that may make or break my week, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So I'll pass it to Vern.
I agree. I think we should all. Well, Raph, you should especially be thankful that ESPN decided to pull Taysom Hill out of that tight end spot. But yeah, so look. Right, word. So look, I think this is going to be incredibly close. I think that Germ, I mean, he's been hot, man. He's been white hot. So to me, you got to really bring your A game, Raph. To me, this is too close to call.
But
I think
been cooking. He has been actually. I'll give him two.
Man, you gotta have the whole shebang. You gotta have your shoe chefs in there. You gotta have the dish boys washing the dishes. You gotta have the servers on point. I mean, the whole operation got to be working.
This has been the tail of my season. It's like, while I have the best record, the most points for, I feel like every week it's like, Raph, you going down. Other than you calling it, it's like I'm the perpetual underdog who's not an underdog on paper, but I'm always the underdog. But
No, you have not been the underdog. You just been that you've had the biggest bull's eye probably of anybody in like the past couple years. But other than that, like, nah, you ain't been the underdog.
The price of success,
You're supposed
bro.
to win these games.
Listen, it's the price of success, Raph. Look over my shoulder.
Exactly.
Price of success, bro. It's just what it is. And you know what? By and large, man, I got to give you props. You held it down this year. You weathered the storm. So you are a true champion. No matter how the playoff goes, you are a champ. So only thing I'm looking at is the playoff games. I'm going to sit back and enjoy. I wish I was in it, but I think that this German Raph thing is going to be a treat. Raph and Marv last week was a treat. Gene, keep doing your thing, brother. Hang in there. Plunkett, I love you, man, but I'm pulling for Gene. I love you, though, Plunk. Level 10 love. And Ricky, keep hope alive, man. I would just like to say today's episode has been brought to you by Duracell batteries. Raph, I encourage you, or Apple batteries, but I encourage you to get that charging cord. I got nothing else. I'll leave it to y'all for final thoughts.
Hey, thanks, Lee. I mean, this.
Enjoy Thanksgiving with your family. You know what I mean? These are crazy times. Family first. Enjoy some fellowship. Let's get on the chat because I know ain't nobody working tomorrow, or I don't know if anybody working. Anybody working today?
Listen, criminals don't take holidays. They definitely ain't taking Black Friday off. So.
Word to that.
Enjoy the holidays, fellas. You know. Happy
this week is a great week. We get some extra football this week, so enjoy the games. Looking forward to a lot of the matchups that don't include me. And so show out, fellas. Stay healthy, and then hopefully we can strike it up again and see how the wheels turn for next week and who's in and who's out.
Happy holidays, everybody. Love to everybody.
Peace.